Good morning, Tyrone. How you doing? You good?
All good, Joe. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, brother. Listen, you're working on one of the most exciting programs that I say one of the most exciting programs. Exciting to me, and a good percentage of the world. Yeah, you've been lucky enough, garnered the opportunity, pushed your space into the space whereby you've written a scene. A whole episode. No, where is it? Yeah, whole episode, right?
Co-written a whole episode.
Co-written a whole episode, and actually wrote one of the well, I guess you were integral in episode 7 of. I don't know, people are like sitting there saying, what? Top Boy, right? This is going to be a Top Boy conversation between a young man who sees an opportunity to get where he is and be a part of one of the biggest brands in the world. But Tyrone, how did it happen? How did it start? Because I know you didn't set off to be a script writer or a writer in the position that you are today.
No, correct. It's a long story. Many years ago, I was actually involved in journalism. I'd done a journalism course, National Union of Journalism course, and I'd done some work experience and stuff like that in the Guardian newspaper. And along that journey, I met a few prominent people, if you like, one of which was the associate editor of The Guardian at the time, a gentleman by the name of Ian Katz. And he kind of took me under his wing from a sort of mentoring perspective. He used to give me lots of advice and guidance and stuff like that. Really appreciated him at that stage in my life. I was going through a lot of turmoil and a lot of personal issues in my life at that time. And he sort of entered my space, and he was very supportive and helped give me a bit of direction. So I'm on this journalism course and I loved it. I learned the basics about journalism. I worked on different desks. At the time, I was big into writing car reviews and stuff like that because cars were my passion. And I had one of my first car reviews. I had one of those published on the Observer because they saw it and they really checked for it, so they published it up. So anyway, I was going through that journey of learning journalism, but it wasn't something that set my soul alight. I enjoyed it. I took a lot from it, but I knew it wasn't something that I wanted to run with moving forward career-wise. And so this was back in 2011, 11/12. And at the time, I remember I was sitting at my mum's house in Hackney, and I saw for the first time, like everyone else, I saw this incredible TV show. Came on Channel 4. I remember it well. It was in October 2011. And I saw this TV show on Channel 4. It was the first ever Top Boy. And I was looking essentially at a show that was being recorded and filmed in the same area that I grew up in Hackney. So I recognized all the streets, all the estates and stuff like that. And it was a film or a series about characters who are thoroughly understood and a world that I understood, having grown up in Hackney all my life. The Deshanes and the Sullys of this world, I met in Hackney, grew up with in Hackney, so thoroughly understood their story, their upbringing, and their whole world. And so I was watching this TV show, and I was enthralled. Like I couldn't believe it. Oftentimes a lot of people compare Top Boy to the US version of The Wire, and they were incredibly similar. And it's the first time I saw anything like that on our English streets, if you like. And I was enthralled. I loved it. I couldn't believe it. this is what I was watching on my screens. And not only that, in an area that I grew up with and grew up in and recognized. So that had I think that was for 4 episodes. It had like a 4-episode run within a week on Channel 4. And as soon as it finished, I think that was my light bulb moment. That's when I knew I had stories to tell. And immediately I went and Googled how to write a TV show. And all these script writing formats and stuff came up. And so script writing formats and programs, and I clicked into them, and they were very expensive. And at this time, I had very little money and stuff like that. There were programs like £200-300 and stuff like that. You had to buy it to download it onto your computer so you can have this script formatting thing. So I kept digging online, and I found a free one, a free script writing program. And so I downloaded that, and I instantly began writing my first ever series, which was a true to life series, and something that I had previously gone through before seeing Top Boy on TV. And I spent the next 5 to 6 months writing my own series and essentially teaching myself how to be a scriptwriter. So studying plot, I was watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, blogs, reading blogs, and just studying and practicing how to be a scriptwriter. So essentially, I'm a self-taught scriptwriter, and I wrote my first script after seeing Top Boy.
Which was 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
So really, it's taken that time for you to refine that talent from that light bulb moment.
Yeah.
And here you are actually working on Top Boy, which is quite amazing. So talk about the moment that you garnered that opportunity, and how old are you, just to kind of put some perspective on it?
Well, age is nothing but a number, Joel. And I'm in my mid-40s, I will say that.
That's fair enough. I mean, you said it like there's a negative to it. There's no negative connotation to it, sir. Your experience and wearing it well. I would have thought you was in your mid-20s, to be honest with you. Just come back from a sun-kissed holiday in Jamaica, but
I wish.
It is what it is. Talk about transitioning over that 10 years, though, and obviously turning that light bulb moment, that passion, into a paycheck.
Okay, so we're still in 2012. And I've just written my first series, and I'm excited about it. I think, I'm naive to the whole world and the whole script writing world and the industry. But all I know is I've just written this series, and I'm excited. I'm thinking it's brilliant. I've sent it to a few friends, and they've all read it. And, I've tried to get constructive criticism wherever I can, because constructive criticism is very important. Sometimes we write and do things and we think it's great, but then what does someone else think? What would an audience member think? That's what's really important. So I sent it out to people, and I got really positive feedback about it. So I then had this great idea that I would send it to the whole world in terms of the media industry. So I went through pages and pages of researching who does what and where within the industry. Who are the producers? Who are the commissioners? Who are this? Who are that? So I collated a list of all these people: commissioners, broadcasters, producers, everyone involved in the business of script writing and getting scripts onto TV. I collated a list of these type of people, and I sent. I say now, it was naively looking back in hindsight. I sent my script to the world, sent it to everyone. And literally over 100 people I sent this script to. And I probably got back about 4 replies. And 3 of those replies were, "Thank you very much for your script, but we don't accept unsolicited scripts. So good luck," basically. So that was a bit of a hammering. Like, you're excited, and it's that same old thing of you knocking on doors and no one's letting you in. So I had a lot of that over the years. But one thing I will say is Top Boy was on Channel 4 at the time. And so I'm thinking, well, they've already aired that type of genre. So maybe they'll be receptive to mine, because mine was of a similar genre. Crime drama genre. So I found that I actually went straight to the top in Channel 4. And there was at the time, the commissioner there was a woman called Jay Hunt. So I managed to get her email and I sent it to her directly. And literally, I don't think I closed the laptop before she replied me back. Literally 2 minutes later, she replied me back and she said, I'll never forget it. She said, thanks very much for this, Tyrone. I'm going to send it to our head of drama and get them to have a look at it. So I was elated. I was like, oh, wow, like, you know, the top person at Channel 4 actually got back to me and answered me and said that she'll deal with my script, when hundreds of other people that I've sent it to never even responded. So I'll never forget her for that, because that kind of made me feel like someone's listening to me. But then I never heard from her again. And it was funny, out of the blue, literally about 4 months after that, I'm still writing and I'm still, you know, trying to get myself out there. No one's still listening. So about 4 months later, I got a phone call out of the blue, and I was a little bit dejected because I'm having all these knockbacks. So and I not only am I having all these knockbacks, I'm naive to the world, so I'm not quite sure how to navigate it and how to get myself in there. So anyway, about 4 months later, I got this phone call out of the blue, and it was from the head of drama at Channel 4. And he said, Tyrone. I said, yeah. Who's speaking? He said his name, Channel 4, head of drama. And I immediately sat up like, wow. And he said to me, I just read your script. I said, really? He said, yeah, I just spent the last 3 months reading it. I said, okay. And he said, I have to say, I think it's very good. So I'm over the moon at hearing this. And then he says, but however, even though it is good, it's not something that we can take on. I said, why? He said, because we've already got that genre covered. We've got Top Boy, and he named another one that they've got. He said, we can't flood our whole timeline, if you like, with just crime drama stuff. We've already got the ones we're working on, so we can't take on board anymore. But he said, look, it's a good script, and I just wanted to let you know that, you know, keep going. And he told me that at a time when I was really deflated, because I'm just not getting anywhere, my scripts are not getting anywhere, no one's listening. But then for him to give me a call, and even though it was essentially a no thank you, I took the positives out of it. It was a no thank you, but this is a head of drama who reads scripts, 100 scripts a week. And from he's telling me that it's a good one, he doesn't need to tell me that. He could have not called me at all. But for him to tell me it was a good script, it gave me that impetus and it gave me that drive to make me think, okay, well, I am doing something right. I have got a bit of a talent here, and let me continue. And so I did. I continued on, and we're still back in 2012, and I just kept writing and writing and writing. I thought, right, I'm not getting anywhere in terms of people letting me in the door, but let me just continue writing. Let me continue practicing. Let me continue honing my craft. So I had to push that. I had to do that on the side, as well as deal with real life, which was earn money and stuff like that. So it was my sideline. It became my sideline, continually writing, practicing, coming up with ideas, writing, even though I wasn't getting anywhere. The years went on, 2013, 14, 15, and it became more and more of a sideline. I had to sort of prioritize on making money. I had a young son, so I have a young son. At the time, he was young, so you know I needed to get money and
I was going to get to that. How old is he now? Does he inform your script writing?
Massively.
I can imagine because that generation, right?
That's right.
Even with your lived experience, you're
right.
coming from a different era to where these kids are at now. So I really wanted to kind of home in on that. But go on, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So my son's 13 years old now. He's in secondary school, and you know, it's been a joy watching him grow. I have to say, he's a good boy and he does well. But he's like you say, he's in that genre where it's a whole new ball game, it's a whole new language and stuff. And as a writer, I listen keenly. I listen to how he talks to his friends. I watch everything going on in his school and stuff. And so 100% he influences a lot of my writing, especially when I'm writing for young characters, people in his generation. I hear his lingo. So many times I have to say, whilst I was writing Top Boy scripts, I would call my son in and say, son, I want to say this. How would you say it? And he would
Makes sense though. Makes sense to get that authenticity, right? Because that's
exactly
what people connect with.
Exactly that. So there's actually a few lines in Top Boy that's derived straight from my son.
I just hope he gets paid, Tyrone. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying to you.
Well, he gets pocket money, so that's the payment.
When did you get the call that drafted you into the Top Boy family? What was the setup? What was the circumstance?
Well, that was another incredible story because bringing it forward let's go forward to 2017. So writing is my sideline, and I'm doing my normal work. And like everyone else, I started hearing the rumors and stuff on social media about Top Boy again. Top Boy started making noise again, and then there was this huge star called Drake who was involved, and I started, hearing the rumors that Top Boy may be back. Nothing was official, but I heard the rumors, and then I think I saw a post on social media, and Drake posted something about Top Boy is coming back and all the rest of it. But by that time, I was really submersed in my own work and doing what I was doing. But I was making notes of it sort of in the background. And so 2017, 2018, I made contact with an old. Oh no! What I will say, let me take you back a little bit. So the guy that I mentioned earlier in The Guardian, a guy called Ian Katz, I was in good contact with him. I kept contact with him over the years. He's now become a good friend. And at the time, he said to me that he'd like to introduce me to a friend called Ronan Bennett, and he writes Top Boy. So this is when I had the light bulb moment that I want to be a script writer. I went back to him and I said, look, I've written a script and I want to write scripts. And he was like, oh, cool, that's great. I think that would really suit you because I've got a friend I'd like to introduce you to, a guy called Ronan Bennett. He writes Top Boy. So this was in 2013, 14. And I was excited, of course, but the show that just inspired me to be a scriptwriter, I'm now getting the opportunity to actually meet the creator. Unfortunately, at the time, 2014, Ronan himself was going through a very traumatic period in his life. Sadly, it's noted, but sadly, his wife died at the time. So as you can imagine, he was in no mood to meet anyone, speak to anyone and stuff like that. So that meeting never happened. And then coincidentally, Channel 4 dropped Top Boy. So then there was no real reason for us to meet. Sorry, bless me. So there was then no reason for us to meet at the time. This is in 2004. So anyway, fast forward again, 2017, 18. I'm hearing the rumors about Top Boy back. So I reached out to my guy, Ian. I said, Ian, look, I've heard the rumors. Top Boy. He's like, oh yeah, I'm glad you contacted me. And at the time, in 2018, weirdly again, Ian Katz had now joined Channel 4. So he's now the commissioner at Channel 4. So he said, look, Tyrone, I'm really busy, but you know, organize it with my PA and come and see me. So gracefully, he hooked up a meeting with me, and this was very early 2019, January 2019. So I met up with him and we had a good old chat and stuff. And then he said, look, you know, Top Boy is back now. He said they're filming now as we speak. It's all been written, it's all been commissioned, it's back. It's going to be on Netflix and stuff. So I was like, oh man, like I've kind of missed the boat, because if they're filming already, all the scripts are written, you know, there's no room for me really. So he said, but look, I'm going to introduce you anyway. I said, all right, cool, no problem. So this was January, so it never happened for a while. We got to February 2019, and I was actually on holiday. I was on holiday in Jamaica and Trinidad. Trinidad first, and then Jamaica. I actually went to Jamaica to go and see the Buju Banton concert, the Buju Banton homecoming.
Yeah, Long Walk to Freedom, yeah.
Yeah, so I was having the time of my life in the Caribbean. You know, I love the Caribbean. I go there quite often, and I was having my time of my life there. And all of a sudden, I just got this email out of the blue, and it was from Ian Katz. He said, Tyrone, I'm going to introduce you to Ronan. You know how you do email introductions? I'm going to introduce you to Ronan. And I'm like, great. Literally 5 minutes later, Ronan emailed me back. And he said, hi, Tyrone, nice to make your acquaintance. He said, it would be great to have a chat with you. I've heard a lot about you. He said, when can you come and see me? Can you come next week? And I said, no, I'm abroad. Sorry, that's just my doorbell. Yeah, he sends me this email, nice to meet you. Can you come and see me? At the time I was in Jamaica, so I literally very quickly called up the airline to ask whether, can I come back quickly? Because I had like 2-3 weeks of the holiday left. But I was so intrigued and so passionate about doing this. I was prepared to cut the holiday short and come back. But the price was just a madness, so that ended that idea. But anyway, so I explained, look, I'm abroad, but when I get back, sure, I'd love to. He said, yeah, no problem. When you get back, you know, come and contact me. So I think literally the wheels touched the ground at Heathrow, you know, before I rang him and said, look, I'm back. He said, no problem, come and see me. So he invited me to his home, and he happens to live in Hackney. So I've come to his home in Hackney. He has a beautiful home in Hackney, and we met each other for the first time, and we sat down, and the meeting was literally supposed to be like a 45-minute meeting. We ended up talking for a good 2 hours, just really connecting and regaling each other with us Hackney stories and stuff like that. And it was an enthralling meeting. Like I left there elated on cloud nine. He was like, a great person to talk to and meet, very genuine person. So at the end of the conversation, he said, look, we've just finished filming Top Boy, and he's in post-production and stuff like that. So I was a bit dejected. And then he said, however, we've been commissioned for another series. So I'm brimming with excitement there. I'm like, all right. And then he says, we'd like to have someone like yourself on board just to help us with the scripts, just to help us make sure that we've got the dialogue correct and give suggestions for stories and scenes and stuff like that. So I jumped at the chance. Of course, why not? No problem, I'm there. So he basically invited me on board. He said, look, I'm going to set up another meeting so you can meet all the producers and stuff like that. So let's do that. And then a couple of weeks later, he set up another meeting, and I walked in and I met all the producers and the script editors and stuff like that. So we're around, it was a bit daunting because we're in his house again and we're around his big boardroom table, and I've just got all these, heavyweight producers in the room, and they're all looking at me like, what are you bringing to the table then? So, they fired questions at me and stuff like that. And I think I just made them understand that, look, Hackney's my world. Like, this is my world. And I know this, there's nothing you can tell me about this world that I don't already know. And I sent them an example of my previous script writing. So they understood, okay, because I think one of the producers, a guy called Charles Steele, he read one of my previous scripts and he said to me, look, I understand that you do know the world. I can tell from your scripts and stuff like that. It's, I feel like you'd be very useful on board. And so after that meeting, I left Ronan's home, and as I left, he shook my hand and he said, welcome to Top Boy. And that was...
I can only imagine what you felt like at that point, right? Because I didn't really know much about Ronan up until he took the stage at the launch of this season the other day, and he struck me as a man that is very, very genuine, who cares, who I can see a lot of our community will be easy to connect with, right? Because the narratives are similar. They're not the same, but they're similar in terms of the experience in this country.
Yes.
And it was interesting, and I'm going to kind of allude to this in my piece, what Kano said prior to him going on to, big up Ashley Waters for, helping him to become the more refined actor that he is. And Kano just alluded to the fact that, Ronan was represented working with the right people, right? And that spoke volumes to me just sitting in there. I understood what Kano was saying. I read between the lines. We can't give away too much of what's coming in this season, and we wouldn't want it because there's so much and people are going to be excited. But I know you wrote the lion's share of episode 7, if not all of it. I know you co-wrote the whole series. And I know episode 7 is your baby. What are you going to be like when that airs? Are you gonna watch it? Are you going to be looking on socials for reactions? I mean, how do you think it will be? Do you anticipate how it will be taken in by the audience?
Well, how it's taken in by the audience is ultimately down to the audience. So, all I do know is that myself, and not just myself, but the whole team, from Ronan, from the producers, from the actors, everyone downloaded their all into making this series. And, we feel we've made a great series. And we can only hope that the audience feel the same way. It's a big deal. Top Boy has its core fans, its core audience, and we have to ring true to their core fans and their core audience, and we have to deliver something that they ultimately will appreciate. And we think we've done that.
Tyrone, you've given me a snapshot of who you are. So I think what matters to us is that I think one of the successes is the reasons it's a success is because of the authenticity and the realness, right? And what matters to a large part of our community is that people like yourself are immersed in that creative process, so that it delivers on that authenticity and it continues to strike the tone that it has done pretty much from the beginning. And that's the reason why it's resonated with us. Yeah. Before we wrap this up, because I'm just conscious we've been talking for about half an hour now, and people are just going to be sitting there thinking, "Wow, I really want to watch it now." This is a big deal. You've been involved in this. Where do you professionally go from here? And I know you're not going to tell us whether there's another season that's being commissioned, but would you like to write on another season of Top Boy?
Of course. I would love to write another season of Top Boy, and I've made them very aware of the fact that I'm here I'm here ready to take the call whenever they're ready to give me that call. So yeah, I mean, Top Boy, it's been an amazing experience, an amazing opportunity for me to jump on board. I've worked with a stellar set of people. You alluded to the authenticity and the realness that comes across in Top Boy. We have one of our series producers, a guy called Jerry Jackson, who is also born grown up, raised in Hackney. He's a big figure in the Hackney community, and he sort of us in the writers' room. So myself and Ronan, we had another writer called Daniel West. He enthralls us, Jerry Jackson. He enthralls us with some fascinating stories that go on in Hackney, and I feel like one of the reasons why Top Boy is so authentic is because I can literally confirm that 95% of the stories that you see in Top Boy derive from real life situations. So we as scriptwriters have to give it the entertaining factor. Do you understand? Give it the drama. So I'm very proud to work on on a show that, you know, displays such authenticity. But yeah, that is very important to us as writers to make sure that we're writing stuff that is believable, stuff that is really going on. As in terms of what happens for me next, of course, Top Boy, they're the ones that put me on the map in terms of writing. So I'm always there for Top Boy whenever the opportunity arises. I'm working on a few other scripts at the moment. I've hooked up with international grime artist Skepta, and we're working on a huge espionage thriller, which I can't say too much about, but we're currently writing that at the moment. And I'm also writing another project, which is a crime drama, but it's based on a real life past event, again, which I can't say too much about. So yeah, we're just still busy working and taking the opportunities and going places with it as far as we can.
Tyrone Rashard, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. More power, more luck moving forward, and we make our own luck out here, right? So I don't mean it in any abstract sense of the word, man. Keep pushing. Sounds like you're on a journey, and I reckon we could have spoke for another half an hour about, you know, pivotal points along that journey. And I really want people to understand that you push through. You know, this is as unconventional a path into script writing on a globally recognized product that I've heard. And it's all testament to your persistency, right? So for those who are listening, have you got any last words?
I want to say thank you to you, Joel, for giving me the space to talk. But absolutely, persistency is the key. Focus, you know, there's a lot of, I went to a Top Boy live event the other day, and we met hundreds of students who, you know, want to get into the world and trying to find advice on how to get into the world. And it was great to see young people, you know, with a dream and a vision, wanting to get somewhere. And I was more than happy to reach out and advise. So main things is you got to keep laser focused, and you got to have that determination and that passion for what you do, and keep banging down the doors, man. They will have to eventually open, no matter how long it takes. It took me 10, 11 years, and finally we got the door open. So keep pushing and keep banging the doors down.